Hi kids, it's Miss Sue at Miss Sue's Art Studio. Today we're going to do a pop art project. Pop art was an art movement that was popular in America in the 1950s. You might recognize the name Andy Warhol and his Campbell's Soup art, also his Marilyn Monroe art. So pop art is not art that like pops out at you. It's art that depicts things from popular culture. So we're going to do a piece of pop art today that involves a handprint, your handprint. So the first thing you're going to do is take a colored paper. I want a dark value, a dark color, and I'm going to fold it in half. And then I'm going to fold it into quarters. Now, if you have small hands, you could fold it one more time and you could have 8 sections. So you could have eighths, but I have bigger hands, so I'm just going to do 4 sections here. So you can see with the creases, it tells me that I have these 4 different pieces of art that I can create here on one piece of paper. So since I'm doing a handprint, I've got some cool colors here. I'm going to start with white. It's going to show up really well, and you are going to paint your hand. Now, you have to do this a little bit quickly because the paint dries really fast. This is acrylic paint. You can spray a little water on it if you have a water bottle. That will help keep the paint from drying out really fast. Okay, so first one, I'm going to go this way actually. This first one's going to be white. Now you could do them all white if you want to, but I'm going to do some different colors. I'm going to move to this kind of minty green color. I call this Van Gogh green. Ooh, this is messy. Make sure you do this in the kitchen, not in the dining room. And I recommend wearing a smock. Okay, got my whole hand painted this spearmint green color or Van Gogh green. I want to make sure I get it really good. And I'm going to do this section down here. Push your palm down, peel it off. Okay, so far so good. Now I'm going to do gold. So I still have some green on my hands, so I'll wipe some of that off. You don't have to completely wash it off, but just get most of it off. Okay, so I'm going to paint gold now. Okay, here we go. Looks good. And I've got one last color. You can repeat if you want to, but I have 4 different colors here, so I'm going to go ahead and use them. So I've got this really nice violet blue, and I still have a little bit of gold on my hand, so it might mix and make kind of a metallic blue, which would be cool. All right. All right, I've got 4 handprints here. Now I have to wait for this to dry, and then I'll show you what we're going to do next. Okay, everybody, I'm back. I let it dry overnight. And we're going to be using oil pastels to really make this a fun piece of art. I've got 4 sections here, and I want 4 separate pieces of art that all work together. I'm just going to start with this blue handprint, and I've got a white oil pastel. I'm just going to frame it in. I like to peel the paper off and hold the pastel between 3 fingers and rub the color down on its side. If you press hard, you can get a lot of pigment down. If you press lightly, you can get just a little bit. So depending on how much pressure you apply will determine how much paint you get on there. There is no wrong way to do this project. I'm going to just have some fun here with several different colors. I like this green, this sort of mossy green color against the magenta paper. So I'm going to add that. I have lots of choices here. I'm going to use a yellow orange, which is a complement to the blue. That means that they show each other off. Those are opposite colors on the color wheel, and they show each other off. So I'm going to add a little bit of orange, yellow orange in here. How about a little red? Layering up the colors gives dimension. Dimension means that it doesn't look flat. You can see layers of color and texture. Now I'm adding some contrast. This is black, and I'm giving a shadow to my handprint. Now I'm going to work in this section here. How about blue? This handprint is a yellow gold, and blue is a complementary color to yellow, so that's going to help show off that gold even more. So many choices. This is a little bit brighter blue. Just to give a little more intensity. And then I've got a light blue for contrast. And I'm going to define the space. And how about a few little highlights of light blue in between the fingers? Just filling in a little bit over here. Blending that shadow a little bit. Okay. Now I'm working with a 12 by 18 piece of paper, which is pretty large. I don't want to smudge my arm with oil pastel, so I'm just going to turn it upside down and work this way. It's not such a far reach. I chose that light green again. And I'm just pushing some of that pigment around and even on the handprint here. Okay, how about this bright blue again? Like I mentioned before, we have 4 separate pieces of art here, but we want them all to work together. So I'm using some of the same colors in the separate spaces. I'm going to peel the paper off here so I can just rub some of that color down a little more easily and create a shadow. Now I want a little contrast in the background too, so I'm adding a little white to blend some of that color and to lighten it up. Here too. Just lighten up the background a little bit. There's that green that I like so much. I'm going to use a little bit more here. Okay. I'm in this last little section here. I've got my bright blue. I'm defining the space. Creating texture back here. And contrast. It's a dark color and the handprint is very light. That's what we call contrast. I've got a little bit of light blue. I'm going to create some highlights with the light blue right on the handprint. I'm just lightening up the background a little bit here too. This is looking good. You could also add pattern if you want to. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with this. Wait, one more little thing. Just some last touches. I think I'm happy with this. I'm going to find a black here and I'm going to sign my name at the bottom. Good job, everybody.